All right, joining me once again here on the Matthew Filipowicz Show is Rodstarz. Rodstarz is from the Bronx-based hip-hop group Rebel Diaz. You can find them at rebeldiaz.com. Rodstarz, thanks for being on the show again, man.
Peace, man. Thanks for having us. Definitely.
All right, so, man, your new album is coming out this Wednesday, December the 4th. It's called Radical Dilemma. Let's just start out by talking about the new album. Tell us all about it.
Well, we've been working on this album for like the last 2.5 years, so we're definitely, happy to be finally able to release it to the masses and to the people. Radical Dilemma, I think, sums up a lot of our struggles in the political work that we do in the streets in the Bronx and really all over the world. And it comes from one of our favorite books, which is Soledad Brother, The Prison Letters of George Jackson. And in that book, they talk about, the radical dilemma being the idea that, when you live under a system like we live under, a lot of times, whether you'd want to be doing more radical work, you find yourself doing work that's more like reform work, and it's a tough situation to be in. And in the actual book, it's, George Jackson gives the example that, he was all about, abolishing the prison system, but as a prisoner, he found himself doing prisoner reform work because he was within the system. And I think that for us, that's been kind of our experience, in the last couple of years, and just trying to being caught up in that radical dilemma. And I think that that's kind of the message, and the feeling behind the album. And we got some great features. We got we just put out a remix for one of our songs called "Which Side Are You On?" We got Dead Prez, one of the acts that we really look up to. So the blessing to have Dead Prez be on the feature. We have Rock the Airsign from Dilated Peoples, representing the West Coast and LA. Just more than anything, just really, we put together, I feel, a pretty dope album, and we're happy to just finally be able to share it with y'all.
Yeah. Well, just the whole idea of radical dilemma, that really is like the struggle for all organizers, isn't it? It's like, you want to work on gigantic change, but then while you're trying to do that, everything is kind of falling apart at the seams, and you sort of have to play. It's like having the kind of the ridiculous balancing act it is to try to actually do good in this world where you're trying to stave off attacks from the right, from the center, from fake liberals and all that kind of stuff. Just actually trying to balance that is pretty much the biggest struggle that organizers have.
No, definitely. And I think that's definitely, we always talk about when we were doing our community organizing, the one that we still do in the Bronx. But even then, it's like the idea that, a lot of times you have these grand ideas, and it's something as simple as like, cleaning up a local community garden of, glass and needles, or, painting a community center and sweeping it up. It's like the everyday work is what leads up to that larger change, So I think that's definitely a space that we've been in, and that we are sharing through our music.
Yeah, I mean, and like the whole idea, and something you guys have, one of the coolest things about Rebel Diaz is not just the fact that you guys are just a hip hop group; you're also a collective. And the last time you were on, I think it was back in March, we talked about how your space, you got evicted from the space that you guys had, and like we were talking before we went on the air about how you guys now have like a kind of an artist in residency thing where you still are able to kind of do like a weekly showcase.
No, I mean, what it was that after our space got shut down, we got a lot of press. More than anything was because the community really came out in support, and a lot of the nonprofits in the area, the larger nonprofits, noticed. And there's a larger one called WEDCO, Women's Housing Economic Development Corporation. They have a project that's like part of, under their umbrella of their larger organization called the Bronx Music Heritage Center, the BMHC for short. And the BMHC basically is an actual project. It's a huge project that they have. It's like a huge building that's about to go up. It's going to be like housing and music studios, whatever. But until that project goes up, they had a small storefront space, which was called the BMHC Laboratory. In that space, they've been having different artists in residence, and they gave us an artist in residence over the summer for us to continue doing our programming that we were doing out of the old space. So more than anything, we were able to do our summer programming. We had hip-hop classes, everywhere from breakdancing to, media literacy workshops, photography classes, beat making, music production classes, MC and songwriting workshops, and this is all, given to the community for free. They let us use the storefront for free, so of course, we believe in self-sustainability, so we had T-shirts that we were selling over the summer, and it was really a huge impact that we had on the community. Kids from all over, were coming into the space. We put up murals, and really try to recreate the energy, because we really feel that more than anything, it's the collective that made the old space. The old space was just a physical factory that was there. We made it into a hip-hop space. And I think that we did the same thing with the storefront. But, that artist in residency is over, so we're once again in a position in which we're looking for a full-time space to have for the Rebel Diaz Arts Collective. But that's something that we're definitely working on and planning, and hopefully we'll come back stronger than ever with a building that we own. That's our goal right now, to get a building that we own, because the reality is that with the gentrification going on in the South Bronx, it'll be a short-term fix if we rent something. You know what I mean? We'll eventually get priced out the same way that we got priced out of the old space. So we're definitely trying to be patient and take our time, but definitely still working towards getting a permanent space. Our whole piece is that hip-hop in general needs an address in the South Bronx. And we think it's crazy that in the birthplace of hip-hop, a culture that has been co-opted by a larger music industry in which millions of dollars have been generated and created, that there's not one space that could be considered like a hip-hop center in the South Bronx. You know what I mean? That's really something that we've been building. It's been great. This summer we built a lot with DJ Kool Herc, with Africa Bambaataa. This year, I don't know if y'all know, but this year we celebrated the 40th anniversary of hip-hop culture. So I think that, there's definitely a lot of moves being made to try to get that building from different, angles, from the Zulu Nation to Kool Herc to the Rebel Diaz Arts Collective. So there's definitely, we're going to see. I think we're going to see a lot of things moving in the next year.